Hi, this is Exploring with Em and Stu.
And today we are here for a spot of mudlarking in Kent, aren't we?
We are.
I say we, it's mainly going to be me today.
I'm sitting it out.
This one isn't really Stu's cup of tea because you have to really get down on your hands and knees, and that's not really something that you're so good at nowadays, are you?
No.
But this particular bottle dump area is an awful lot older than the one that we normally go to in Essex, so I'm hoping to find something a little bit more interesting.
We are.
Yes.
And if you can hear in the background, we do have the young little one over there, and he's going to be doing his own little video.
Yeah.
So he's got his own little action
So
camera.
maybe one day in the future, check out his YouTube channel.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, I'm going to have a little look and see if I can find anything. This area has had some work done on it recently, so I'm not sure if that's caused too much destruction, but still.
Still worth a look.
Let's have a look. So here we are, we've got another really lovely day. It's a little on the breezy side, so I'm hoping that this new microphone I've got actually does the job. But we've got a whole array of broken bits and pieces here, but having been here once before, we know that if you look really closely, you can actually find some whole bits, but some really interesting little bits. I mean, I found alley-gobs here before, I found beads and pot lids and things like that. So I'm going to turn you around, we'll have a little look and see what we can see. Right, so as always, let's show you a little bit at what I'm looking at. This area here is an awful lot muddier than it was the last time we came, because of all the work they've been doing to try and shore up the banks there, which is not a bad thing because the erosion was quite bad, but it is a little bit of a shame for us sort of mudlarkers. Ah, look, that would have been a lovely poison bottle. Ah, in fact, that looks quite freshly broken, so maybe that was broken during this work here. Ooh, this is quite an interesting one. Oh, gosh, I think that is actually a complete ink pot, but lovely little boat ink, but certainly very melted. A lot of this area here was actually sort of incinerated, I think, in the past. That's why we find a lot of things that are quite melted and burnt. But there's lots of aqua glass, as you can see. Oh, that would have been a nice little sort of jar lid or something. Lovely colour to that. In a little while I'm going to get really low down and have a really good look, but for now I'm just having a little skim really, just to see what's about. But anyway, I think if I see anything worth looking at, I will turn you back on. So I've just spotted a little something down here, and I thought I'd get my trowel out because I want to have a look, and it's probably broken, but if it isn't, this might be a lovely little pot base. Really hoping that it's not broken. I haven't got one this size yet that isn't broken, so that would be lovely. There we go. Oh, lovely. Actually, that's quite complete. Just scrape out some of the goop from that. All right, a little bit of a chip there, but I don't mind too much. I wonder if we can find the top to it. That would be really amazing, but I actually think I might keep that little one. Just spotted a little something down here. I think we've found things like this before. It's like a little carbon rod. I think they might have something to do with industrial use, maybe battery uses or something like that. It's really, really light though. I don't know if they... No, I think that's definitely carbon. But so I think I'll keep that one here, but just thought I'd point it out. Now I am really hoping that I might have spotted down here my first bottle stopper. Oh, well, yes, it is my first glass bottle stopper, but it's broken. Oh, that is really frustrating. Never mind. Just down here, spotted a little pipe stem, which I still can't resist. What I'd really love to find is something we found last time we were here, which was actually a pipe bowl. That would really make my day. But for now, start low and head high, and you never know, we'll stick with this. So now that the tide is almost completely out. Decided to come right down to the foreshore, and it's not too bad here because this ground is actually quite sandy, so you don't sink too far. So, oh, I say just as I sink, but it's not as bad as the mud at Tilbury anyway. But I thought I'd have a little look here before the tide starts coming back in again, just to see if there's anything that's been recently washed up. I think I've spotted another pipe stem here. Wouldn't it be amazing if there was a bowl connected to this? There won't be. And there isn't. Oh, it isn't actually even a pipe stem. It's a little glass rod. Quite curious. Seems like interesting little things sticking out of the mud here. Let's have a look what it was, shall we? Oh, there we go. It was a little jar lid or something, I think. I mean, I never expected it to be whole, but I was just curious as to what that actually was. There you go. Oh, I think I've just spotted something. And if it is, it'll be almost in exactly the same spot that I spotted my first ever one. And it is broken, but still rather lovely little alley-gob, or knuckles, or whatever you want to call them. Little Victorian game that the kids used to play. I'm still going to take that. More than happy. So I've just spotted something out here, and it might even be a hole. And if it is, it'll be the first proper whole untwisted thing that we've actually found. Oh my goodness me. Oh, another day when even the paste pots are broken. But then we do know that this beach isn't renowned for its complete jars and bottles, so we'll keep looking for the smaller finds. Let's try again. Is this one whole? Yeah. It is whole, but it's just a little screw top. So I won't be keeping that, but nice to find something whole at least. Look what I just spotted. It's a little boot. Oh, I don't know where that came from, but it's certainly a first. Well, for me anyway. So here's a little pipe stem, but this one is actually the end, and I don't often find the ends of them, as you can see there. So that's quite nice. So here's another one of those melted and twisted little glass, oh, I don't know if this was an ink or possibly like a little gum paste or something, but it's often these ones that are actually not broken. I think it's because they're actually quite strong, but this one's really quite deformed. I mean, it's almost quite fascinating to look at. So I've just been crawling on my hands and knees, having a really close look, and I'm glad I did, because if I hadn't been, I wouldn't have spotted this tiny little thing, which is got to be the smallest little bottle stop I have ever seen, I think. Certainly ever found. Would have probably come from a little perfume or something. I think it's pretty much complete, but that is really lovely and certainly makes worth climbing on my hands and knees, worth all the effort. So I think I found a little carpet runner that they used to use in the olden days. Oh, now this would have been nice. This would have been really nice. It is what was left of a little pot lid. The original rich sauce, I think that says on there. Oh, if only that was whole. Oh wow, it's something I haven't found for a very long time. It's a little dolly's arm. And look, this one's got like a little bend in it. Ah, I actually don't have one like that yet. But look, her little fingers are all complete. Oh, she's lovely. So, and on a similar theme, look, It's a little Dolly's pot lid from a little pot. Ah, again, I've not found one of those for a while, so that's quite nice. Well, that's certainly not something that you see every day. 4 Chinook helicopters all flying in a row. I wonder where they're going. So I bent down to pick up this little piece of pipe stem with almost the little heel on it there, when I spotted another little piece of pipe stem, which I now can't find. That's off in the way. Ah, here it is. Here we go. And I looked up just a little bit further and I spotted another bit. Even bigger. We're getting closer, aren't we? We're getting closer to the pipe bowl. Maybe next time. Looks like that would have been somebody's pair of legs once upon a time. More pipe stem with a bit of writing on it. I think that says cork, possibly. Still can't resist a bit of pipe stem. There is an awful lot of helicopters going over today. Another little pot just sitting here. This one, certainly worse for wear. And, oh, here we are, I know what this is. The ABC, which was the Aerated Bread Company, a company that went on to have all sorts of cafes in London. So that's a nice little shirt with a tiny bit of history that I actually know where it's from. So unfortunately it's getting on a bit now. I hadn't actually realised how long I'd been down here for. Stu's took Little back to the car for a little something to eat, but I'm going to have one last quick look along this remaining little bit just to see if there's anything else that I can find, and then I think we're going to have to call it a day. Yes, I think I just spotted the tiniest little piece of toothbrush I think I've ever seen. That one, I don't know, could be bone, not really sure. Now, you know, one day I'm actually going to try and learn a little bit about identifying pottery, because I see things like this and to me I just think that's just anyhow rubbish. But do you know what, for all I know that could actually be like a piece of Roman pottery or something quite amazing. I might have to bring my dad down here because he knows an awful lot about identifying Roman pottery than I do. You know, if it is, then let me know. If it isn't, then just laugh at me and tell me that I really do need to learn a bit more about pottery. Oh, that's a heartbreaker. Look, pot lid with some writing on it. I forget what this one actually was, but it's far too burnt that you're never going to see what it says, even if I cleaned it up. But one day I will find a whole pot lid which is beautifully decorated with something at least which isn't completely burnt. Now this would have been lovely. Lovely ginger beer, I should think. Look, there's so many bits and pieces like this. Look, gosh, all sorts of broken bits and pieces. So the only problem with this beach is that it is mainly broken bits and pieces. I mean, wow, these lovely stoneware pots, look, they're lovely. They are just everywhere, but they're all broken. I do know that they find whole ones down here now and again, but we've not been so lucky today with the larger things. I found some nice small bits so far, but really you need an entire day down here if you've got it, and unfortunately we just haven't had long enough, or we won't have long enough to do the entire beach, but we'll keep going while we can. Now this really would have been lovely. Really small, what is probably, gosh, it's covered in all sorts of things. But it's also got a little bit of writing on it. Pimlico, whatever it was from Pimlico. Ah, what a diddy little teapot spout. Don't often find them that small. Spotted a little marmalade for my collection. In fact, this is quite a big marmalade. I can't go away without coming away with one of these nice little marmalade sherds for my collection. Oh, I think I spotted what would have been a little Dolly's teacup, but oh, it's sadly broken. So sadly, I think I'm out of time for today. I could literally spend the whole weekend just searching for little curiosities and little lost treasures. It's not been a bad day. No pipe bowls, which I'm a bit sad about. No buttons, which is something I normally always find. But we certainly found a few bits and pieces that we don't normally find. So anyway, I'm going to go back to the car, but stay tuned because I'm going to just do a little roundup of what I did find at the end. So, welcome back, and as promised, a little roundup of the bits and pieces that I found down there on the Medway on that blustery day many weeks ago now, in fact. And as promised, here's a little roundup of the bits and pieces that I brought home with me. We did leave plenty of bits and pieces there as well, but as expected, there wasn't an awful lot to find there. They've been doing a lot of work there, as you could see in the video, and unfortunately an awful lot has been destroyed, even more so. But there was still plenty of desirable bits and bobs amongst that destruction. So let's take you for a little look at one of the two interesting bits that I found. So, as always, we've got a large array of pipe stems. I didn't film all of these. We found some interesting bits that say cork on them. In fact, a couple of them do. So very likely from Ireland. This was unfortunately the closest that I came to finding a pipe bowl. So not quite as lucky as we were the last time, but still there's plenty of pipe stems to find there. What else have we got? Oh, this little piece. I didn't actually film, I don't think, me picking this up, but I'm quite certain it's a clay piece of kiln furniture, very likely, used in the process of making things. Nice little collection of Dolly's bits and bobs. This nice little pot lid, which is a little worse for wear, like most things. I believe this is part of a doll's leg. We've got our boot. Our little broken cup, which is a bit of a shame. But this was really quite lovely. Little Dolly's arm with, if I ever get into the doll making game, that actually could be used. Look, it's perfect really. So there we are. So I suppose I better point out yet again our piece of nondescript pot. I don't think it's Roman. It looks like it was used for grinding because it's quite rough in the bottom there, and possibly glazed in there, so that's kind of a sure sign it probably isn't Roman. But one day I'll read the book that I've got about identifying Roman pottery and maybe learn how to identify it. Of course, we're getting so close to finding the pot lids, but we're still not quite there. As pointed out, this is from an anchovy paste lid. Oh, I would love to find one of those, but I still keep picking up the bits and pieces. Maybe one day I'll be able to glue them all together. The only piece of glass bottle that I actually came back with was this little one, which is mangled, twisted, and obviously been melted. But it was really little and it was quite unusual, so it came home with me. I don't know why. Now onto a rather small but interesting little sherd. Again, as pointed out in the video, this is from the Aerated Bread Company, which basically was founded in 1862 by Dr. John Dawlish, who was a scientist, and he actually discovered that you could eradicate the fermentation process by using science, which meant that you no longer needed to actually physically touch the bread, which was of course an awful lot cleaner than in those days, especially with the diseases and stuff. And so it was sort of a revolutionary way of making bread. It was also cheaper, so the bread could be sold a lot cheaper as well, which of course was very popular. A couple of years later, he went on to open his first tea shops, which actually were the first of their kind, which allowed women to eat out basically in an establishment of its kind without being escorted by a man, which seems crazy nowadays, but obviously back in those days, it was just the done thing. But they went on to have 150 shops and 250 tea rooms, and so clearly it was a really well-known and popular establishment back in the day, until I believe it was brought out in the 1950s by Allied bakeries, and now, other than the occasional ghost sign that you may see above buildings down in London, we really don't hear about it anymore. So, but still, I mean, it's quite an important part of history, and this little sherd tells an awful lot of it. Of course, it's always nice to find one of these little alley gobs, little Victorian playing pieces. I've actually got quite a collection of them now. This one, I don't know if it's burnt, probably was originally the same colour as these others, but I'd like to find some different coloured ones one day, but getting a nice little collection anyway. Now, I nearly forgot to show you our little pot that I found at the beginning of that video, which, as you can see, is cleaned up quite nicely. I'm always finding the pot bases. I've got quite a few now, mainly larger ones. This is the only small one I've got, but just never the tops. But if we just look over here, then I do in fact have a little piece of pot lid, which this one is from a cold cream, which probably would have fitted that perfectly once upon a time, but wouldn't it be lovely if I could find a nice complete bit to put on there? And now on to my favourite find, which is of course this beautiful little glass stopper, perfectly formed. I don't often find the ornate glass stoppers. I certainly have never found one as little as this, but I just absolutely love it. So that's going to live in one of my little perfume bottles, hopefully one day when I find one that it'll fit, but that was definitely my favourite find of the day. And so before I say goodbye, those of you that follow me on Instagram will know that recently I purchased one of these nice little printer's trays that I'm slowly filling up with little bits and pieces, sort of picking out my favourite bits and bobs, but this is how far I've got with it, so I just thought I'd give you a little look. If you look closely, you'll actually spot one or two little things that we found on a recent mudlark that have not yet been in a video, so the eagle-eyed of you might be able to spot some really interesting, exciting things that are coming up really soon. But anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that little trip with us down on the Medway there a few weeks back, and it's somewhere that we always enjoy going. We don't always find amazing things, but it's such a beautiful location. I'm sure that we will definitely be back there at some point in the future. But if you've enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, and if you like the channel, then give it a subscribe, because we're so close to getting that 5,000 now. It would be great if we could try and achieve that by the end of the summer. But from Exploring with Em and Stu, thanks for watching as always, take care and see you soon.